Max, to no one's surprise, is playing Goblins, pretty much his standby deck. And he's playing against Brad Nelson, who's playing Esper Deathblade. So as we bring you into the game here, it looks like we are on game 3. Brad's board currently is an Underground Sea and a Wasteland. And so he's a 4-color Deathblade deck. He's an Underground Sea and a Wasteland. He has a Snapcaster Mage and Deathrite Shaman in play. And he just Abrupt Decayed Max Tietze's Ether Vial. Max was using Cavern of Souls and Rishadan Porch to land screw Brad, but now he's going to probably have to stop doing that because he does need to put some creatures on the battlefield.
You can see the quality cards that Brad Nelson has. Deathrite Shaman and Snapcaster Mage, 2 of the better cards to have seen play in Constructed in many years.
Yeah, and what I really love about that, both standard legal.
Yep. And Brad takes out the Rishadan Port. Max, end of the turn, fetches. Now if you're looking at Max's list, he is a very tiny splash of green and a very tiny splash of white. The green gives him Croson Grip in the sideboard for some of his opponents, and 10th Street Hooligan, and the white gives him Thalia.
Right.
You could argue that the white gives him Angel of Despair as well, but he can't actually cast it.
Well,
that is specifically for
it's because the second,
Hypergenesis Show and Tell.
Second splash isn't black. You know?
Yeah.
Otherwise he'd just cast it.
Well, to be fair, because of Cavern of Souls, he could theoretically cast the card.
Oh, gross. He could play 4 Cavern. If he has 4 Caverns set to Angel, he could cast the Angel of Despair. I would love to hear a Goblin story where that actually happened.
And we see a Vial and a land and pass.
So Max is one of the most patient players when I watch him play Goblins. Right now he's down to 2 cards in his hand, but just very patiently reloading here. It does look like he's a little bit on the back foot as he's down to 2 cards. Brad has a grip of 7 full cards. He was stuck on 1 land, but now he has a second fetch land, and between that and the Deathrite Shaman, it looks like he's going to be able to start making a lot of use out of his spells.
Are we going to see a Thoughtseize? Oh, Deathrite Shaman. Mana. Attack with Snapcaster Mage, Tiago Chan.
Yeah, Brad seems pretty happy just to develop his mana. I think he feels that if he can cast all his spells, if he has enough mana to cast his spells, he can't imagine that 2 cards in Max's hand are better than the 5 in his. Well, he's not so worried about it that he has to Thoughtseize.
One of the things I would be slightly worried about would be the arrival of a ringleader, actually. A ringleader. But we knew that Max didn't have it, or he probably would have cast it last turn. He had 4 mana.
Right, and even so, what I think what Brad may be trying to do here is he has a Jace the Mind Sculptor in his hand, and by playing that Deathrite Shaman, he now for sure has a Jace next turn.
One of the cards in Max's hand appears to be another land.
Yeah, he has a Taiga, he has...
Is that a grip?
It looks like a Croson Grip, so it looks like not very many threats. Usually he hasn't had too many threats this game either. He had a Lackey and then really nothing else. Possibly it was a mulligan game, I'm not sure on that. He does have...
10th Street Hooligan without the mana.
Yeah, carefully avoids paying the green for it. And this is really kind of an anemic board for Max. He has both players have a 2-1 for 2, but Brad's presumably has done a lot more work.
And Brad uses Deathrite Shaman to make some mana. End of the turn Brainstorm with a fetch land available. Yep. Swords to Plowshares in hand now. Vindicates.
And so what he has is a ton of removal and a Jace. And really, when you have a board with 2 Deathrite Shamans on it, all you need is a ton of removal and a Jace. The Jace will draw you more cards, you play removal spells on all your opponent's creatures, and then you remove your own removal spells to kill them.
So I would be unsurprised to see end of turn Swords to Plowshares to get rid of the 10th Street Hooligan. He wouldn't have to do that, but he could do that, untap, and lay a Jace with no creatures on the board.
Right. I mean, yeah, you say, boy, isn't that greedy to Swords? And I think he's not because, he has so many blockers for 10th Street Hooligan. He's just actually, or Jace can take 2. It doesn't really matter.
And here we're going to see the removal of 2 lands, and we get the Jace the Mind Sculptor. Better than most things.
Right, and so basically, if Brad, and he doesn't even care about brainstorming, he feels his hand is so good, he's just going to go ahead for the Fate Seals right away.
Get rid of that card. Pass the turn, say
So
go.
as I said before, remember, Jace can't totally stop your opponent from top decking. If you have 2 relevant cards in a row, then you can still play something, as we saw last game. Let's see, was Max's second card also relevant?
Still see that a unexciting hand for Max. Cross and Grip, land, and then I could not make the third card.
Yeah, we'll check here. Yeah, Jace the Mind Sculptor. A lot of people say, expensive
Pass.
for Legacy, but very similar. What is it? If you activate it 3 times, you probably have won the game. Which I guess a caveat of saying that is Jerry did activate it 3 times and lose a game. We already saw that on camera. But it's very difficult to lose once you have a lot of activations with it.
We see the Brainstorm ability. That's the 0 ability.
So
Puts 2 cards back.
Yeah, one thing I want to know with Esper Deathblade is Brad did draw Tropical Island there. It is 4 colors, and I believe the green in his deck is just for that activation on Deathrite Shaman.
Well, he also has some Abrupt Decays between the main.
Oh, absolutely, you're right, yeah. So yeah, it actually is a full 4 colors.
But only 2. Only 2 Abrupt Decays. And goodbye to the Aether Vial.
Yeah, he's going to Vindicate on it. That's a really aggressive play. To me, Brad feels very confident in the game if he's making plays like that.
Right, I mean, he still has access to 2 mana right now in the form of the Deathrite Shaman.
As a control deck, you often would want to just answer the creatures that come out from under the Aether Vial and ignore the Aether Vial, but I think Brad's probably along the lines of thinking that the only way he loses is if a bunch of surprise stuff comes out from under that Aether Vial, so if he gets rid of it, he just can't really...
No more surprises.
Yeah, no more surprises, and the game will just go out according to plan.
And the Vial drops down a Pile Driver. This is the moment that Max needs to do something.
Pile Driver's pro blue, so maybe he can get, he can possibly get a shot at the Jace. It'll probably end up just getting chumped by a Deathrite Shaman, but Max has a chance here. Let's see what he does with his opening.
Okay, Gem Palm Incinerator.
All right, and if Max can draw another Gem Palm,
Swords to Plowshare.
and as we knew it was in Brad's hand.
And then draw the card from the Gem Palm.
And it's a double blowout because
Ringleader.
the Deathrite Shaman doesn't even die now.
Max is not done yet. I mean, he does have a Ringleader and a Cavern of Souls on Goblin in play. Brad slams back that first card. That one's gone.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna get a free shuffle here. He kept a Stoneforge Mystic off that Brainstorm, so he's gonna do that Brainstorm and shuffle trick once again. So just continue to improve his hand. Just remember, he has Detention Sphere, Stoneforge Mystic, Supreme Verdict. I can't imagine that one's going to be cast. And now he's gonna search for the way to win.
Max does have a Cross and Grip in hand, and I believe that last card,
I think
Taiga, he's been holding the Taiga back to keep it from being wastelanded. I was kind of wondering about that, but here goes the Ringleader. Let's see how many we're gonna get.
All right, so Ringleader does resolve, and he's gonna get 2.
Nice,
including a
and one of them's
rebuy on the Ringleader,
and a Matron, which can get a Ringleader or whatever else.
No, a pretty fair Goblin Ringleader there. Not the most broken one, but good enough for sure.
That was pretty exciting.
But he's still got a long way to climb. Remember, Brad, he does know that Brad has that Batterskull, which he fortunately has the answer to. He's going to have to race the 2 Deathrite Shamans, and I think that's going to be the hardest task for him to do on this board.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Matthias Hunt. This is SCG Live, the StarCityGames.com Open Series featuring the Invitational here in the Garden State. We're in New Jersey today, bringing you today 8 rounds, 4 rounds of Standard, followed by 4 rounds of Legacy. Tomorrow, more Standard and Legacy, as well as the Standard Open.
So Brad does 4 damage on the end step with 2 Deathrite Shaman activations. If you look at graveyards, I believe there are no more instants for him to go at. Maybe, I don't think Swords has been exiled yet, so there's 1 more instant. That said, Brad's deck's a control deck. He doesn't have too much problems putting more of his own instants there.
One of the things that's really powerful about Brad's position, he also has Supreme Verdicts in hand, so that should Max actually assemble anything meaningful, Brad can just sweep it all away.
Right.
Snapcaster. Thoughtseize. I think
Wow.
we're gonna say goodbye to either the grip or the ringleader.
Oh, and I think it's the Croson grip. If the grip is gone, Brad can start Batterskulling, and he's aware of that.
Goodbye grip.
Not only that, it puts another instant in the graveyard for Brad to target with his own death rates.
And another land. Brad just trying to pull ahead here. Max draws.
And Max has a Lackey, not great at this point in the game, but really because he has that ringleader, you know, he still has a shot. I would say you never can underestimate the ability of Goblins to come back from really bad-looking board states.
Goblins, I feel like, is the best card advantage deck in Legacy that doesn't include the word Gristlebrand.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. You know what? That was my opinion too. Charlotte's Bug is giving it a run for its money, I would say. But you're right. It's great at drawing cards. As you see there, you know, it's just a 2/2 for 4 that with haste that harmonizes when you play it.
I mean, if you think about how Goblins works, it's got these Factor Fiction Goblins in play. It's got this Dark Ritual Goblin in play. It's got like a Demonic Tutor Goblins, a couple of those in his hand.
It's all these really good, sometimes banned cards that cost 1 more because they have goblins with them.
Batterskull sees play. Stoneforge Mystic cast from hand. Deathrite Shaman is used to eat up a land to make that happen.
Alright, so remember the Croson grip was cleared away, so Brad will get to hit with this Batterskull.
Detention Sphere.
Does hit 2 creatures with the same name. Bounces,
Here they
swings
come.
for 8. Swings for 7,
That's
activates
it.
Deathrite, shows the 8th, 9th points.
Yikes. Max Tietze falls to Brad Nelson, 2-1.
Yeah, and you know, I was a really patient effort by Max there to try to wade through what was a game that looked like it was out of his control early on. I think he made, you know, he made an effort of it, but in the end, you know, far too many Jace the Mind Sculptor activations for Max to catch up with.
I feel like when we saw Jerry before and the Jace activation so many times, he only barely